Hello, accounting students. Welcome back. This is Mrs. Bloomquist. We have moved on to Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is all about posting to a general ledger. And we can see that the first lesson in Chapter 4 is all about using accounts and preparing and maintaining a chart of accounts. So we have a couple of lesson objectives. Constructing a chart of accounts for a service business that is organized as a proprietorship. Demonstrating the correct principles for numbering accounts, applying file maintenance principles to be able to update our chart of accounts, and then finally complete the steps that are necessary to open general ledger accounts. Now, one of the things you want to be thinking about is that, we've already learned how to record transactions in a general journal, putting all the transactions in chronological order. However, when we do that, the general journal doesn't actually give us the balance of each account after we go ahead and write the transaction down. So we're going to go ahead then and use account and the specific accounts so that we can then see what the actual account balance information is for each account. So the account form, or, and again, this is if we're using the paper version, but if we're using an online or electronic accounting system, there is still an account form for every single account. And it's used really just to summarize in one place all of the changes to a single account. And we have a separate one for each account. And what you'll notice is that we have a section where we actually post the debits or credit to the account. And then we have a separate section that keeps track of the balance in the account. And this is where we're going to tie in that information that we have about where is the normal balance located for any of our accounts. And is the normal balance going to be located on the debit side, or is that normal balance going to be reported on the credit side of the account? All right, so the relationship of a T account to the account form. We're looking at the information that's needed to trace the entry back to the journal page, and that's going to be this stuff right over here. So then the T account, the debit and the credit are listed as those first two columns that we were seeing in the account form. Finally, we have the balance information that's over here on the very far right-hand side of this account form. So for the chart of accounts for Delgado Web Services, and remember that's the business we've been looking at, we can see, and this is coming directly off page 94, we can see all of the accounts that are listed. We have our balance sheet accounts, and you can see that they're listed over here, that our assets are 100 series number accounts, our liabilities are 200, our owner's equity, these are all 300 level accounts. Our income statement accounts are going to be 400, and then our expenses are going to be 500. And you can see that we do have quite a few expenses listed in that 500 area. So a group of accounts is called a ledger. And a ledger that contains all of the accounts that are needed to prepare the financial statements is called the general ledger. So all of those accounts are in our general ledger. The name that's given to each account is known as the account title. And then the number we assign to the account is obviously the account number. So cash would be the account title, and 110 would be the account number associated with that cash account. So you can see they're showing us an example of an asset account that's supplies. So it's 1 to say that it's in the general ledger division, and then 50 to say the location within the general ledger is going to be our balance sheet accounts and then our assets. All right, so the procedure that we use to arrange accounts within the general ledger and what we use then to assign the account numbers and keeping all those records current, that's just called file maintenance. And you want to just make sure that you're aware that when we have new numbers or new accounts, we can assign new numbers to those new accounts as long as when we first create our chart of accounts, we give plenty of space between any of the existing accounts that we have within our chart of accounts. So you can see that we have an existing account of miscellaneous expense. We've numbered it 560. We have another account that's our supplies expense. It's 570. And we have all that nice space in there so that if we decide we need to now have a postage expense for when we mail things, we could go ahead and easily enter in a new account number, and it fits right between in alphabetical order between our miscellaneous and our supplies, and now we have room to go ahead and insert that new account. Again, water expense, you can see that we're going to be bumping up in the alphabet, so that's where we would jump up by 10. Okay, so how do we go ahead and open up an account in a general ledger? Whenever we have that new account, we do need to go ahead and open a new account. So anytime we do that, we need to make sure that we identify the account title. In this example, we're setting up from the beginning, so you can see we have cash, and it's going to be account number 110, and that's it. So opening those new accounts is actually fairly easy, which is what we like to see. All right, so describe the two parts of an account number. Again, the first digit tells us the general ledger division where the account is located. And so we are saying that those 100 level accounts are assets, 200s are liabilities, 300 are owner's equity, and then we're looking at 400 for revenue, 500 for expenses. The second and the third digits then let us know where the account is within the division. And those numbers we'll just sort of get used to as we go along. Finally, 2 steps for opening the account, which this one's pretty nice and easy. The first one is you write the title in, and then the second one is you write the account number in. So isn't that fantastic and easy, which is pretty great. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we understand is that when we're creating or setting up our chart of accounts, we definitely want to classify or organize our accounts by those categories within the accounting equation, so that we're making sure that we keep our assets and our liabilities and our owner's equity all together, and that we keep all of our balance sheet accounts and all of our income statement accounts together. You don't want to just go ahead and put them all in alphabetical order, because there would be some confusion because you haven't classified and kept things together where they belong according to the financial statements. So that's pretty important for organization. From this point, you want to go ahead and do the work together and on your own for this chapter after you've submitted your form questions, and then you can move on to lesson 2. Good luck.